Welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast, an Australian twist on all things NFL. The boys are cracking into a nice cold beer from Burnley Brewing. Let's join them.
Hello and welcome to the Vault Studios NFL podcast. I'm your host, Richie Garraway. Sitting across the Zoom screen, as usual, is my co-host, James Arthur. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, mate. I'm very, very well. We were just saying how wild a day it's been in the NFL. Everyone like, oh, who do you think is good? The answer is fucking no one's good. I think that's the bottom line. Everyone's shit. Everyone's pretty flawed. There's a lot of flaws on teams. So, but it makes for good football. You know, the Jets going into Lambeau and winning, it makes for good football, if you ask me.
When was the last time somebody lost the two New York teams back to back? When did that last happen?
I'd say never. Be hard.
It's got to have been a while.
It'd be hard to find like the fact that the schedule works that way and then to actually lose. It would have been a long time.
Or even just losing to both of them in the 1 year.
Yeah,
it's got to be pretty rare, especially the last few years.
Because they've been dog shit for a long time. So who knows?
Sure have been.
That's a good question. I'll quickly start just by thanking our sponsors. We've got US Sports Gear. Head to ussportsgear.com.au for any sort of football equipment you need. And also Burnley Brewing, 648 Bridge Road, Richmond in Melbourne. If you're ever in the city or you live here, make sure you head in there, grab a beer and get a feed there as well. The food's unbelievable. So make sure you look after them. Rich, tonight we decided we'd do a little bit of, considering we think everyone's crap or good, we thought we'd do a little bit of contenders and pretenders where we'll rattle off a few teams and basically if we think they're a chance to contend. I don't think we say like contend for Super Bowl, but a playoff contender, like a team that we think can get into the playoffs and win a football game. So if we think they're a crappy 7 seed, they're a pretender, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think it has to be a team that we feel is capable of winning one playoff game. That is a contender.
Yeah,
making the playoffs is not.
No, and I made it easy to start with. I've just put sorry Bills, Chiefs, and Eagles, but we're not going to talk you guys much tonight because you're all clearly contenders. There is just no doubt about it. The Bills Chiefs game today was a phenomenal game.
Awesome again.
That's what every football game should be, like 24-21, where the game's defense plays well, offense plays well, and the game's won on like one or two moments, one or two plays.
You didn't like Alabama, Tennessee on the weekend?
I actually did like that.
Oh, mate, what a good game.
As you know, Richie, I'm a huge Tennessee Volunteers fan.
You are a Vol?
Huge Vols fan. Because of our good friends Brett and Dakota, who came out and played with us one year, who went to Tennessee, and the first college game I ever went to was with one of those boys' sister, where we went. Me and my wife were in America, and we went tailgating and went to a Vols game, and it was a pretty cool experience. So everyone knows I'm not a big college guy, but if Tennessee win, you better bet I'm going to be telling everyone I'm a huge college guy. Like
that game was loopy, had it all. It's awesome.
It was. So they're our contenders already. I think that's pretty easy to. There's no one. You don't have any arguments for those three, do you, Rich, at the moment?
No. The Bills and Chiefs that speak for themselves. Eagles are 6-0. They only need to find 4 more wins in the playoffs. So they're looking really good. Hurts is not all the way there yet, but they've got a perfect scheme to fit him, and the pieces they've got around him, they're really good. The lineman getting hurt today, whose name escapes me, Lane Johnson. That's not great. I don't know yet. I haven't seen a second report, but they wouldn't want him to be out for too long. But other than that, Eagles and Eagles fans, you're going to be okay. You're going to be there.
Micah Parsons absolutely took over when he got injured too. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, they did the little montage of how the game had been changed. Because Lane Johnson really had him under control. My favorite was when he tried to do that spin move back in, and he just stayed there. It's like, where do you think you're going?
He read him
technician.
Really well. Yeah, he read him really well. It was good.
It made a huge difference when he went out.
Big group of O-line. They got very good receivers, the Eagles too. Like the Cowboys fought back in the second half. I think with Dak Prescott, that game's probably different. And you know what? Just while we're at it, we'll talk Cowboys later when we decide if they're contenders or pretenders. Let's go to the first team. the New York Jets. I can't believe. By the way, if the team doesn't come up in this, for the about 14 teams we're going to go through, if they didn't come up, we don't think you're contenders in any way. And you're not even worth discussing as one. It's just obvious to us that you're not. Okay, so if you're wondering why, that's why. New York Jets. What do you reckon, Rich?
Look, they're 4-2, and their 2 losses are to the Ravens and to the Bengals. Now they have beaten obviously an undermanned Dolphins team. A Steelers team wasn't very good. I don't want to talk about what they just did on the weekend, but a win over the Packers, that is a really good win. And when you look forward, they got the Broncos. Ugh, they got the Patriots twice still, and they've got the Bills twice still, which is a bit of concern. Look, I think they're probably pretenders, but they're on the right path. They're heading in the right direction. They're little. I'm not going to call them a quirk of the schedule because it's not that weak, but this is a team who everyone expected to be dead last in their division, and I don't think they're going to be.
No, I think that was the perfect way to describe them. They're a pretender, but they're on the right way. It looks like Zach Wilson's the guy. I really do believe that. Breece Hall looks like a really good runner. They'll get Mekhi Becton back next year, which I know he's a question mark, but he's also a really good tackle when he's flying on all cylinders. So hopefully that happens finally. Defensively, they're okay. Williams is a good player. They've found a few guys.
Well, they drafted well this year.
Yeah, they did. Who's the receiver? The receiver they got?
No, man, you're gonna put me to the test.
Wilson.
Hang on.
Wilson. Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson, isn't it? I got it right.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yes, Garrett Wilson. Yeah,
Garrett Wilson.
Yeah,
so he
only had one catch today.
Well, they only passed for 110 yards today, and that's why I think
18 times.
Yeah, that's where I think they're a little bit of a pretender. Like, I don't think they're doing that much well. I just think they've strung together a couple of good wins, and that's a sign of a team that's going in the right direction. A team that can win a couple of games and get things going. I don't certainly think they're outstanding. Also, Sauce Gardner putting on that cheese hat and then leaving the stands. And they were calling him Cheese Sauce Gardner the whole game. It was outstanding. So he looks like he's a pretty good steal as well. But they're solid, and I think they'll keep getting better. And I think they'll keep getting better around Wilson, who, he's the best Wilson in the league, if you ask me. Best Wilson in the league. Best Wilson's the quarterback in the whole league.
Quarterback?
Easily the best quarterback, Wilson. Let's move on. This one's a tricky one. The Cincinnati Bengals.
And the reason it's a tricky one is because we've seen what they're capable of. But I don't obviously that it was a solid win today. They're 3-3 and they defeated Andy Dalton, the ghost of Andy Dalton, who had to throw 32 times. It's a classic when you're like, oh wow, look, good for you, Andy Dalton. You're still in the league.
He's made a lot of money, Andy Dalton. A lot of money, that dude.
Yeah, Joe Burrow. He's obviously the man. Like he's a really, really good quarterback. But if they're going to keep asking him to throw it 37 times, he's going to break his own hit record, which it was last year. I don't understand why they don't try to run it more. Joe Mixon had only 8 carries today.
They're 3-3.
I think they're a contender in that division. Exactly. I think they're a contender in that division. And if they're in a playoff game and they got it at home against a wildcard team, we talked about at the start, they're capable of winning that game. I think they're a contender.
Well, Cleveland, we're not even discussing Cleveland and Pittsburgh because they're both not in. Then they're not contenders. So the Bengals, even if they lose that division to Baltimore, who they're tied with right now at 3-3, I think that I think they can get it. And then you're playing a team you could potentially be playing like a Jacksonville Jaguars in the first playoff game, or a Denver Broncos, or the Pats or the Dolphins. You know what I mean? You're not. You're playing a team that you could comfortably see yourself winning. So yeah, I say contender as well. I'm with you. The Dolphins.
Oh, did I see their 4th quarterback played in 4 weeks today? Is that what actually happened?
Yeah, well, I think
I was not paying close enough attention to this game, but then I saw some highlights, and I was like,
benched.
"Hang on a minute, what just happened here?"
I
I'm just
think
trying to
they
pull it up
benched.
now.
They benched Teddy Bridgewater for the start of the game, I believe, and
Skylar
then
Thompson was
yeah, and then
taking that today.
I think he got hurt. I think the guy who they bent, I think he started. I think Skylar Thompson started, and then they benched him for Teddy Bridgewater, and then Bridgewater got hurt, I believe.
Either way, this isn't
It
great for
shows that
them.
Tua is good. It shows that Tua is a good player,
Well,
if you ask me.
he's certainly better than their other options. So,
Yep.
um,
Yeah, Skylar Thompson started.
my concern for
Definitely.
the Dolphins right now is to be a contender, they're going to have to be a wild card team. As you just said then, they're going to have to go on the road and potentially beat a a Cincinnati or a Chiefs or someone like that.
The Jets could beat them.
Nah,
At this point.
Jets aren't winning. The Jets won't leap over them and get the division. But
Yeah, you're
I
right.
really, I'm sure I had them in the playoffs, and I do think they can make it.
You did. You had him as 17.
Yeah, but unless Tua comes back, and I really hope he comes back healthy because it looked really bad.
Yeah.
So if he comes back, he's healthy and he's good to go, then I hate saying I think they contend because I think I said that about everybody so far. It's going to be really hard for them to win that playoff game and reach our definition of a contender. So I actually think I'm going to have to say they're not, but I do think they'll still be in the playoffs.
Tua will return. He returned to throw. So he threw the ball. He practiced three practices last week.
They don't have a Thursday night game or anything this week, do they?
Nah, he's still non-contact.
He's going to get another full week.
Yeah.
When's their bye? Have you got their schedule handy?
No. I can get it though.
Let's see if I can find it.
Because that's what they need. I think he'll miss one more game if I was to go out on a limb.
If their buys in the next 2 weeks,
They've got Lions next week, Browns, Niners. The buy.
So the buy is ages away. So yeah, I think they're probably needing to play before this season starts to slip away.
So they played today, and now they play the 24th, then the 31st, and the 7th, then the 14th. Yeah, their bye's not until another 6 weeks, another 5 weeks.
Okay, so that's not happening. Now, I don't want anyone to misconstrue that I'm trying to get somebody with a concussion to play. Obviously, he needs to be cleared, but they need him if they want to win. If they're going to win, I should say, not if they want to. But they've got some really, really winnable games coming up with some really good matchups for their skill guys. So, yeah,
I'm saying pretender. No, I'm saying pretender.
Yeah, I think they
are. Baltimore Ravens. I'll go quickly on this. They've had a couple of bad losses. They will get it right. They're still working some things out. I think they still win the division, and I think they're an absolute contender to win at least a wild card game. And then if on a good day for the Ravens, they're a team that I believe can go toe to toe with the Chiefs and the Bills. And there's not many of them in the AFC. I think they're probably the only other one that can do it in my mind. Like they've lost some dumb games though. Like they could easily be 6-0. They've had leads in every game they've lost, and just a few things don't go their way. Like today against the Giants, they literally lost a game. Lamar fumbled. Like Kayvon Thibodeau didn't even get close to sacking him. He just stuck his arm out and just happened to hit the ball. Like, yeah, well done. But it wasn't a good pass rush move or anything. Like Lamar genuinely didn't think he'd be able to get his arm out. So it was one of those little things. Like in any other day of the week, that brushes past his leg and it doesn't even affect the play, and he probably throws a touchdown and they win. So yeah, it's little things. I think they're absolutely a contender.
And speaking of dumb wins, let's not forget that Miami Dolphins put 28 points on them in the fourth quarter to win that game.
And Lamar scored in that
went crazy. Yes, he did. He scored in the last quarter as well. So, yeah, they do have a couple of games like that. The thing going for them,
they're missing some receivers at the moment. The passing game's not working like it did the first 3 weeks. Their 2 starting receivers are missing. Simple as that.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
And they play the NFC South this year as well, which right now is kind of a bit of a poo-poo platter. Like Atlanta's looking good. Like it's ridiculous. So yeah, they've got some extremely winnable games. I think they've still got the Browns twice. I think the Steelers twice as well for division games. So pardon me.
Tell you they've got Browns next week, Bucks,
mm,
Saints, Panthers, Jags, Broncos. Like they could realistically win the next 6
they could
games.
run that table. They could run it.
Oh,
So
then Pittsburgh again, then the Browns again, then Falcons, then
thought.
Pittsburgh, then Bengals. Like their run home, I'd hate to do the math on it. The only team with a winning record on that run home right now is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 3-3.
Well, there's
Every
a lot
other
of
team
500 teams.
Pittsburgh are 500. Sorry, Atlanta are 500. Bengals are 500. Steelers aren't. Browns aren't. Broncos aren't. Jags aren't. Panthers aren't. Saints aren't. There's only 2 teams on their schedule that have a winning record.
Yeah, so 100% contender. They're probably going to win the division, and then they'll get a matchup, as you said, against the third-ranked team in the AFC West.
They'll get the Browns the week Deshaun Watson comes back.
Yeah, that was deliberate. Isn't that game in prime time? Pretty sure it's in prime time.
It's a 5 p.m. game.
Oh, I could have sworn it was a prime time game.
They don't on every one of their game. They don't have a. They have the next week.
I thought Deshaun Watson returned against Houston.
Oh, he might.
I think he does. 15. That's why I said it was deliberate.
That's week 15. He's only a 13-week suspension, isn't he? Wasn't it? It was 13 games, so he'll be back week 14.
I don't know. I'm so lost. He got another bloody court filing last week. Like, God.
Remember,
killing me, that guy. Anyway, moving on.
Let's move on. The loser Patriots. That's for you, Corey. Fuck your Pats.
If you'd seriously asked me a week ago, I would have said complete pretender. A couple of weeks ago, but now I'm like,
it's so one-dimensional.
Really, Zappy's winning them a game.
Yeah, because they're playing outstanding defense. That's why. And then that's what Belichick does. He takes guys like he's got the number 1 corner in the league for Pro Football Focus again. His name's Jack Jones. No one's ever fucking heard of the dude. He's a rookie. He's a rookie out of Arizona State. Well done, Herm. A round 4 pick, and he's the number 1 rated corner in the NFL. So look, you can take what you want out of Pro Football Focus. I don't think it's not always gospel, but he's got to be playing well to be number 1 out of 100.
Yeah, under our rules, they're not going to win the division, so they're going to be a wild card team. They have to go on the road and get a playoff victory. I don't think they can. I'm going to say pretender
because I think that Zappy's just riding a bit of a rookie luck. Bit of a first time starter luck, and
there'll be some tape on him in the next 2 weeks. So.
And I think Mac Jones is struggling. Their O line's nowhere near as strong. I'm not sold on them. I think pretender. The Colts,
total pretender. I'm not even going to talk about it.
Yeah, and I didn't even talk about I didn't. The sad part is that I think everyone in the NFC South is a pretender, and one's
agreed. And I would said it about all of them.
I think it might be the Colts division. That's why I put them in here. But I think they're all pretenders. I don't think any of them win a playoff game. Maybe the Titans.
They'll be an underdog. They'll be an underdog at home.
Division winner.
A playoff game with a spread of 4.5 points. Guaranteed.
Correct. And they'll probably get like a Ravens or a Bengals coming to them. And this is the sort of team.
Ravens win the division, but they could get Cincinnati coming to town.
The Bengals might win the division. They're tied on 3-3 at the moment. So you never know. Like
I don't think their runs as easy.
Or a Dolphins, like a Dolphins, or even
you get a Dolphins coming to town. You could get a Raiders coming to town. You get a Chargers coming to town. Like, see you later is what's coming.
That's a great segue into the Chargers.
Don't start me. I fucking hate this team.
So they're playing tomorrow. They haven't played this week. They play the Denver Broncos tomorrow. I think
they should, if they blow the doors off that garbage team, which they should. Yeah, they're a contender. They should be a contender. They got the talent to be a contender.
They're missing a few guys, but they're getting by. They had a really good win last week, and I can't quite remember who it was. I'll get the schedule up, but it was they beat the Browns last week in a close game, missing a few guys. They've won 2 in a row.
The biggest thing for them is
the Chiefs and the Saints. It's really not that.
They've
No,
got
Chiefs. That's it. They're 4-2. They're 4-1.
they're fun. No, don't they have a game in hand? Aren't they 3-1?
3-1. Sorry, correct.
Yeah.
No,
So
they would have played
they'll.
5 games.
Oh, sorry, my mistake.
Would
So
have had to. I'll just count. Win 1, 2, 3. They're 3-2. Yeah, so
okay.
3-2.
So the biggest thing going for them is they've got Eckler going in the last 2 weeks. That's the most important thing. He had a really, really slow start to the year. Every fantasy owner complaining about it. But he has really got going in the last 2 weeks. So that's the biggest thing to be excited about. Their D's good enough on any given week, and they've still got Justin Herbert,
And Keenan Allen's back next week,
which will
is
be
huge.
very good for them.
Huge for them.
Well, it stops so much attention being paid to he just got paid, Williams. So I'm going to put him down as a contender. They're not going to win the division though, and they're going to have to go East Coast to play one of the other division winners, which is one of the one of the division winners, which is not good for them.
No,
but they've got the talent to do it, which is why I'll say they're a contender.
They're a contender because if Herbert gets going in a game and Eckler get going, like they can just score. They can score at will, and they're not saying they're a road team. It means nothing to them. They play at the road every time they're in LA. It's not even their stadium. We know it. Like the opposition always have more fans there than there are Charger fans. So I don't think
for those who don't know, they tore down the old Qualcomm Stadium in San Diego because there wasn't a pro team playing there anymore. The baseball team left that stadium. It was one of the last of the convert stadiums. They've torn it down, and the University of San Diego State play there. So they tore it down, and they've built them this boutique, smaller stadium on the same site. Quite frankly, Chargers, you should move back and play there.
Yep.
Sell it out every week. Have 25,000 there or whatever it's going to hold, and just go back to San Diego.
Yeah.
Like get some identity. Have a town that's yours. The baseball team in the past has never been particularly good. I know they've been good this year, but like San Diego owned that town, and their fans have not traveled with them. It's clear as day. That stadium, it looks half empty when they're at home, or it's full of Chief fans or Raider fans, whoever goes down for it. It's just sad. It has been a terrible result for them as a franchise. I'm sure the owner's probably making more money, or he never would have done it. But I still hate it.
Yeah. They have no home field advantage. They've got no identity. Send them back to San Diego, if you ask me. And they didn't even want to leave San Diego. No one wanted them to leave there, except because the city were cheap. That's why they left.
No. The owner wanted the city to pay $1 billion for a new stadium.
The owner was cheap.
The owner was cheap, not the people. Like the people already paying the baseball stadium off. Now you got to pay another one off.
Yeah. Let's go New York Giants. I'll start with these guys. They are complete fucking pretenders. They are not good at all. They have asked their way to a couple of wins. Like, I'm not even going to... They've beaten the Titans week 1 by a point, and the Titans aren't even good, and they caught them week 1 on a bad week. They've beaten the Panthers by 3 points. Big fucking deal. That team's fired their coach now. They lost to the Cooper Rush Cowboys in his second start. Like, sorry, anyone who's lost to Cooper Rush, your team's not a contender. Sorry, but you're just not. Chicago Bears by 8 points, who are dog shit. They caught the Packers in London, and it turns out maybe the Packers aren't that good anyway, so it's not that big a win. And then this week, as I said, against the Ravens, they got they were down by 10 points, and everything bounced their way in the last quarter to get a win. They're complete. And you know what? The best part is, the next 3 weeks they play Jacksonville, Seattle, Houston, then Detroit the next 4 weeks. So they might win the next 4 games. And I still think they're fucking pretenders. I think they're shit. Danny Dimes ain't in a playoff game. He's not.
The biggest problem, look, I'm inclined to agree with you. The biggest problem is because they got 4 wins already. If they do win 4 of these next 5, they're practically in the playoffs. Like, if our favorite game from halfway is finding all the wins, if they're going to make it or not. Like, you and I love to rattle those off. They're all here. They're all in that schedule. They are going to make the playoffs.
Do you want to know who these guys are? They're the Panthers from last year.
But the problem with the Panthers last year,
a couple of wins.
But last year, that schedule was completely front loaded. Like, the worst 6 teams were the first 6 games that they played.
Yeah.
Whereas if you look at the Giants and what's left, there's still a Jags, there's still a Texans, there's still a Seahawks, there's still a Lions, there's still the Commanders twice.
Yeah, I think the Eagles
Like,
twice.
they're going to make, unless it all goes horribly wrong and they fall in a heap,
Yeah, which I think is what's going to happen.
they are
Potentially.
still a really good chance to make it. Now, they're not winning a playoff game. They are
but
nowhere near good enough for
There'll
that.
be a wild card. There'll be a wild card, and they'll get fucking pants by whoever the third seed is. Or the third,
I
no,
don't
it'll be the
know.
second
Yeah,
seed.
the NFC is not that good. That third seed could be the Vikings.
No, it'll be the second seed. I reckon that they play the Vikings third last game of the season. The Vikings will pants them.
They
Pants
should.
them.
Should.
I think Seattle, out of the next 4 games, they'll definitely lose 2 of them. Like, Seattle aren't that bad. Jags had a couple of bad weeks, but they're not that bad if you ask me. Like, they're no fucking war. But this is the problem with a team like the Giants. The way they play, they're kind of always in games, but they're also always out. They can always lose a game. So I think it will even itself out. Or hey, they might win 12 games. I don't fucking know. All I know is they could win. They could finish 16-1, and they're still contenders. Danny Dimes is not winning a playoff game. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's not happening. Let's go on to the Dallas Cowboys. Look, I think if you catch the way this defense is playing, if you can then get, like, they were the number 1 offense in the NFL last year with Dak Prescott for a reason. I think the running game's got better. So I think they're going to be a wild card. I don't think they'll catch the Eagles for the division now. It's going to be really tough. And I also think the Eagles are a better team than them. I think they're just more equipped in a lot of places. But they get Tyron Smith back in a couple of weeks. They'll get Dak back next week. What I was going to say before, Richie, that if we can now stop this Cooper Rush bullshit. I think Cooper Rush has done a fantastic job as a backup. And I'm not ragging on him and saying he's a shock. Leave him on the roster as a backup for as long as we physically can, because he's proven he's a terrific backup and a backup you can have confidence with. But when your defense doesn't allow more, until today, doesn't allow more than 17 points in a game, it makes it really easy, because everyone's done the old, oh, well, he came back in the second half and had a couple of good drives and then, got the game back alive. So that's what he's done every week. Except the difference is his good couple of drives gets them up by 10 points instead of down by 3. So the fact that the Eagles jumped him in the second quarter changed the trajectory of the game. He did a great job, put a couple of good drives together, but they also ran the ball very well on those 2 drives as well. That was the other big difference. And then late in the game, when it came down to it, he couldn't do it because he's not a starting NFL quarterback. It's just not what he is. And that's fine. He doesn't have to be that. He's done a terrific job. He's won them 4 games, but we can stop the bullshit now. Dak Prescott goes back into this lineup, and if he plays well, this team is a contender. It's as simple as that.
It's a classic thing of a good team when they lose their quarterback, and you say, oh, the quarterback's going to miss 6 games. You go, oh, if we can go 3-3, we'll be okay. That's the classic thing. It's all you need out of your backup quarterback when you know the starter's coming back, like a broken thumb or whatever he had. You're going to get him back because bones heal. Like, they're 6-week injuries. And, with NFL and all the rest of it, it's probably a touch less. So you look at the schedule. Defense is for real. No 2 ways about it. Yep. And Cooper Rush has done exactly what he needed to do. He kept your head above 500. That's all you need to do when you're a backup, because NFL teams lose 6 games every year, and then the elite ones only lose 4. And even that's getting rare.
They get Detroit and the Bears the next 2 weeks, which is a nice way for
Prescott to garbage.
Because you could just run all over. Because the key is, and this is where, like, I hope Kellen Moore has learned from play calling and that, and I hope Prescott's learned from watching Rush a bit as well. He can make throws that Cooper Rush could never make. He can move like Cooper Rush can never move. But learn that you don't always have to.
Yeah.
Like, that's what he could learn from watching Cooper Rush, is that, you know what? I don't have to force it all the time. I can take 5 yards on first down on a scramble, slide, and live to fight another day. I can take that, when we run that naked boot where I boot and the tight end's covered, I can not just launch it deep. I can run for 4 or 5 yards, slide down, take a 4, and go to 2nd and 5 instead of 2nd and 10. Like, learn that way. There's nothing wrong with letting Ezekiel Elliott run it into a loaded box for 2 or 3 yards on first down if they're loaded, because you want them to stay loaded. So if you keep audibling out of it all the time, they'll then know, oh, he audibles every time we load the box, so now we can disguise coverage. So learn that it's okay to do that, and I hope that's something that they've learnt from Cooper Rush, is that you don't have to do it all. You can rely on your guys to make plays for you sometimes. Dump it underneath and a guy like Noah Brown break tackles for first downs because he's shown that he can. Let CeeDee Lamb make a guy miss or punt it. It's okay because your defense is really fucking good. So if you score 3 touchdowns, you're probably going to win most games. Like, you'll win a lot of games scoring 3 touchdowns, or you'll be in a lot of games.
Especially when your defense is that good.
Exactly.
And, they're like, that defense has just improved. I can't think the last time
Dan Quinn's going to get a
Dallas's
fucking
defense
job.
was this good. Oh, for sure.
They should pay him whatever he wants on a 10-year deal to keep him in Dallas. Honestly.
To make him the head coach.
Yeah, well, again, you know what? What did I say? McCarthy just gets fucking saved by dudes. Now he could have blamed the injury, but instead Cooper Rush has played well, has done enough, and then the defense has dominated, so that keeps him alive. He's not really doing anything. It's Kellen Moore running the offense, and then it's fucking Dan Quinn's defense. So he's just getting away with it again. I'll forever think he's a crap coach. No one will ever change my mind.
He's a crap coach.
Yeah. Let's go over to the Minnesota Vikings. I reckon this is pretty easy. I think they're a contender.
Me too. I said they were a contender at the start of the year because I had them win the division.
Yeah.
They're 5-1 with the Cards and the Commies to come. And then they got the Bills. But, they could very easily be 6-1. They've already been in Green Bay once. As soon as you hit sort of, I always say, if you get to the halfway mark,
they couldn't very easily be 6-1 because they'd have to play a game next week to be 6-1. You meant 6-0, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, sorry.
They can't just game the game without playing it. They're 5-1.
Yes, I meant to say yes. Sorry, my mistake. But they've got some. If you're just staring at it, some very winnable games in both New York teams. They've still got the Bears. They got the Commies.
Play the Lions again still? Have they played them once?
They've got the Lions still to come.
Because the Lions have really shown themselves. And Dan Quinn's I'm not Dan Quinn. What's his name? What's their coach's name?
Dan Campbell.
Dan Campbell. He's in trouble, and I don't want him to get fired. But I fucking know what Detroit are like. They're going to fire him.
No, they don't. They're not big on firing coaches. They've given guys a lot of rope.
Hope they give him another year. Let him get Jameis Williams back. Let him just give him another year. He drafts well. That's all I'm saying. But
he's only in his second. I think they'd be mad to fire him this year.
The team loves him.
But just looking at the Vikings, what they got to come, I say if you can get your 6th win before you're halfway through the season,
you kind of got Arizona.
The playoffs are beckoning at that point. Yeah, it's all.
They will win the next 2.
As silly as weekends are in the NFL, which we do get from time to time, where all favorites go down and things like that. Like it happens, but the NFL is still a game of numbers. At the end of the day, it comes down to quarterbacks, coaches, where the game is played, because every team is even. Besides those things, they're the crazy variables in a game. Every now and then, someone bobs up and you have a ridiculous turnover margin or something like that. Those things can't be controlled. But if you got the quarterback, you got the coach. The new coach is really starting to work out for him. I like the changes in the offense. He's clearly been allowed to take the shackles off his own offense because it was his last year under Zimmer, but he clearly had the shackles on about what he could do with it. It seems to suit their personnel. They're not blowing teams out, or they're not, greatest show on turf or anything, but they're looking really, really solid. And I do think they're going to win the division.
Cousins can't win a fucking primetime game. That's the only problem. And the playoff
I think he can. I think he can win a playoff game at home against. Now, my only concern is if they're the 4 seed,
they could get a Cowboys.
They're going to get a good wildcard team.
Or a Giants.
They might. I'm telling you, that Giants team, that schedule's garbage.
It is.
But yes, I'm gonna say contender. So I picked them in the division mainly because I'd had enough of Aaron Rodgers and his bullshit. But Also, because I thought they were good. So I think they are going to do
I
it.
agree. Contender for sure. Packers. This could be the toughest one. I just don't want to look at them. They just lose 2 weeks in a row to the two crappy New York teams. But I still, something's telling me they're good still. Is it just, am I
Because they have Aaron
blinded by
Rodgers.
Rodgers? Am I
You're
blinded by him? Because he
completely
hasn't played that
blinded
well.
by Aaron Rodgers. No, but you've seen him play well, and you are completely and utterly blinded by it. And quite frankly, I'm the same.
I think if they can make a trade for someone, like go and get Robbie Anderson from Carolina, who, did you see the meltdown today from him and get his
No, I didn't.
So he had a fight with his wide receiver coach, and then the wide receiver coach was like, "Fuck you, you're not playing anymore." So he was sitting away from the team with his cap on, and then they were obviously struggling, and he walked past the receivers coach again and like mouthed off at him and said something. And the receivers coach was about to go punch him, like he was chasing him through the team. They were trying to stop him to punch him, and then Steve Wilkes saw it, who's the interim coach, and just turned to Robbie Anderson and said, "Get the fuck off the field, you're done." And apparently they took him through the opposition team's change rooms and said, "Just get your shit and get the fuck out." Like,
Oh, really?
I don't think he'll be back. It was like when who was the Colts guy that left the field that day? Vontae Davis, who at halftime was like, "Fuck, I'm out. I'm not playing anymore," and just quit. It was kind of like that, but he was told to. It was like Antonio Brown, but he kept his shirt on. So, and I don't believe he's a rapist. I don't believe he is. I'm not sure though. It could come out later, like Antonio Brown. But yeah, like go and get Robbie Anderson. Go and get a decent deep threat and add to your team. Like do something, because now's their chance, because the division's getting away from them really quick. I think they can eke out a wild card, but they're also like they're pretty far back in the NFC right now. So I don't know. They're 3-3. Aaron Rodgers will tell us to relax, but if I was him, I'd be worried. But in saying that, they get the Commanders next week, so they'll win that. Then they get the Bills. That's going to be tough. At Buffalo too. Then they get Detroit. They always beat the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys are Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady's babies. He always beats them. Then they get Titans, Eagles, Bears, Rams, who are struggling, Dolphins, who knows by then Vikings. And so there's probably 6 wins there for them. Like there's probably an easy 6 wins. They beat the Lions twice. There's 2. They beat, let's say they even up with the Vikings in the second week of the season. That's normally how the divisions go with good teams. And then they beat the Bears and the Commanders. There's 6 wins straight up. And you've only got to find 2 more against Titans, Rams, Dolphins, Cowboys, Eagles, or one more, or the Bills, which would it shock you if Aaron Rodgers goes into Buffalo and beats them?
No. And
it's
that's the whole problem.
He'll go in and throw for 404 touchdowns and
maybe like told you.
Yeah, they're contenders. I'm just not ready to say they can't win. If they're playing in a playoff game, they're probably the favorite in my mind, no matter who they're playing, because of Aaron Rodgers. Simple as that. Because we know what he does. We know what he does in big games.
Well, he wins the first round, loses the second round.
Always. And then we got the Bucks now, just to double down on it. This team's exactly the same. They had a shocking loss. Pittsburgh shocked them. When they took the lead with that Leonard Fournette throw, I was like, oh, they're going to win. It's fine. And then letting Trubisky do that to your defense has just been kind of what they've been about this year. Yeah, it was crappy. But I think that will probably make them stronger. And in saying that, they're going to win this division. The division's dog shit. Panthers are awful. Falcons, they're a mirage. I'm sorry. It's great. And I'm really enjoying watching them. Like, they're fun to watch, but they're not good. They're going to fall off. The Saints are terrible with Andy Dalton. They're going to get worse, or with Jameis Winston, whoever you want to put in there. They're only going to get worse as the year goes on. Kamara looks like a corpse. He can't get anything going. Their offensive line's garbage now. So in saying that, the Bucs will win the division. And if you have Tom Brady in a playoff game, you're a fucking idiot if you bet against him.
Especially if they should get that game at home.
Exactly.
In division, wildcard game at home.
They're a contender. And then again, in any playoff game, Tom Brady is a chance. And until that stops happening, I'll always think they're a contender.
The biggest problem with finishing as the 4 seed is you get someone like your mob coming to town again. That you don't want.
No. because they're a
Like
team. They're a
you
defense
really got to
that's
get to the
that's
3 seed.
Yeah,
Got to get to the 3 seed, and
four,
then you
four
get
seed's gonna suck.
it always does, no matter who you get, because you're the worst division winner playing the best wild card, who usually has 2 or 3 more wins than you,
Yeah,
and
because they're
they're
normally
usually the
just
better
lost by
team.
50. Yeah,
Exactly, and you know, I'm trying to think. You get the you get y- like your Green Bay coming to town.
yeah. Green
We're
Bay,
going to get
Cowboys.
someone coming in who we've probably lost to already. It'll be you guys coming in, it'll be Green Bay coming in. I don't want that. We got to get.
49ers coming in.
Oh
Rams.
yeah, that's the last thing I'd want. Like you got to
Well,
get up another level and get somebody not as good coming to town. Although I don't know if the 49ers are any good.
well, that's a great way
Oh,
to talk
good
about it.
pretenders. I'm just putting it straight out there. Like no analyzing, no nothing. I don't think they've got it. I think
I'm
they've
just
screwed
not
this whole
backing them
quarterback thing up.
individually. I think their defense is really good, like really good, but I think their offense is so bad it's almost going to not matter. In saying that, though, Garoppolo is okay. They're playing injured. They're missing three starting offensive linemen at the moment. Kittle's still coming back. If they get who's the big left tackle? How am I having a mental blank on him? He's just the best offensive lineman in
Best
the league.
one in the league.
Trent Williams. If they get Trent Williams back, he adds another element to them. I think they're a contender because I think they're going to win the division and they're probably going to be the 2 or the 3 seed, which means they might get a New York Giants coming to them. That sort of deal.
Yeah, they might win the division. I don't know if they can win a playoff game.
Oh, I'm not sold on them.
The 49ers are harder pick than a broken nose. Like I don't know what they are.
No. And then let's go over. We're divided on that. I say contender. You say pretender. The Rams. I think they're a pretender.
I think they are too. Someone has to win that division, but I don't think anyone's that good in it. The Rams have got the huge Super Bowl hangover.
And they're top heavy, which we knew was going to happen.
Yeah,
because
they knew it. They knew it too. They went into full win now mode. That's all they were going to do. We are winning the Super Bowl this very second, and they did. It worked.
Yep.
When you do that, you got to pay the piper at some point.
And the piper is that the O-line's dog shit because they haven't invested anything in it for 7 or 8 years because they've been investing in Allen Robinson, Aaron Donald, fair enough, Jalen Ramsey, Bobby Wagner. Like they've been investing in guys that they, in other areas where they couldn't keep offensive linemen around. They've lost 3 or 4 starting offensive linemen over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, they could be in, and even who's the ancient guy they had last year?
Who's doing Thursday Night Football now?
Yeah, I kind of gone blank on him.
Andrew Whitworth.
So guys like that, like yes, got my Super Bowl, I can get out. But they are, they could be in complete rebuild mode in a year. Like it's going to go that fast for them, because whilst as a fan you appreciate the fact that like they went for it and they got it. Super Bowls are rare. Ask a Cowboys fan. These things do not just come along every day, and you just get good. Like they had to work at it, and they were constantly topping up, playing the game. Just get another piece in here. This is the time. That is not sustainable. You got your Super Bowl, awesome. And if they said to my team, like literally Tampa did, just topping up with Tom Brady, it's not sustainable. He's gonna retire at some point one day. He will retire.
Maybe.
And then, like, where are we going to be then?
Well, he might not retire. His family's not putting pressure on him anymore.
Well, that's true. Yeah, well, they're putting a fucking lot of cloud in his mind. That's for sure.
Did you see when he was yelling at the offense today, and everyone was like, they were dubbing it with, "I left my fucking Model Y for this shit." Can you pick your game up? I lost my Victoria's Secret Model Y for you guys.
Yeah, you probably get another one.
It's probably not. It's not something we should laugh at, but fuck, the memes are just wild with him. Like they just giving it to him.
And also, let's not forget, his plan was to be in Miami this year, like with Sean Payton. Like, we can't forget that was going to happen
Do you
until
reckon it'll happen next
Flores blew it all up. I
fucking
don't know now.
Flores? I love
The
Flores. He's now a
ship has
linebackers
sailed.
coach at Pittsburgh. It's like he coached the best defense in football as a head coach, and now he's a linebacker coach at Pittsburgh because he fucking
Crazy.
ousted them all. Because it is a boys' club. Actually, just quickly while we're discussing, have you seen what Al Michaels came out and said about Dan Schneider?
No, I haven't.
He admitted that the basically entire 31 other owners want him to sell the team and fuck off. Like they hate
Oh,
him.
they'd love him to.
So
That's
can't
no
they
surprise
force
to
him
me.
to? Can't they force it?
No.
Because
Well,
how did they
why?
force
What,
the Carolina?
what clause are you? Just they just leaned on him. And he
Oh,
goes,
they
I
just
don't need
pushed him
this.
into it because he was a roaring racist.
They just leaned on him and said, hey, like you're old, cash out, get the hell out of here. Whereas Snyder's like, fuck you. Snyder loves court. He can't wait. You think all
He's
the
a
dirty
piece
laundry
of
that
shit.
all those owners are billionaires. They're all pieces of shit. They've all done heinous things to get to where they are because you don't get to those places without doing some dodgy shit. Even
And
people
Schneider
like, oh,
probably knows all of it too.
oh, mate, they're all horrendous. They're all terrible. Because no matter how much of a shiny thing and they put, oh, the whatever foundation and all this crap, you don't get that kind of rich without mowing down some people on the way. It's impossible. Yeah,
Yeah.
what's the great line? Behind every great fortune, there's a great crime.
Yep. That's how I got all these helmets. I steal them all.
That
Normally off
you
little
just
kids too. I'm like, oh, you little
like,
fuck! Is that your helmet? Give it to me. Mine now.
I
Go
would,
buy somewhere else, bitch.
I'd love to see the back end of Schneider,
Yeah.
but
What's going to happen though?
like, yeah, this is gonna get another fucking rich guy who's also an asshole. They all
Yeah,
are.
because apparently David Tepper's a fucking piece of shit too, and everyone hates him. The
They're all pieces of shit.
Carolina Panthers guy.
All
he's
the
an
rumors about your owner, how many women he's
Hey,
paid
whoa,
off, like
whoa!
it's all there. Like they're all pieces
Eugene
of crap.
Garraway. How dare you bring up the
Don't
great
make
Jerry?
up my middle name.
I don't know what it is. Was I close? No, that was terrible. Jerry Jones is a fucking saint. How dare you? See, Robert Kraft got married on the weekend as well.
Oh,
Like a
did
fucking
you
30
see Brady went to it on the Friday night? He missed walkthroughs on Saturday.
Hey, Brady does what Brady does. He's got to get used to weddings again. He might have to remarry.
This is a guy who that's not a bad joke. This is a guy who's happy to get divorced from his model wife to play football. He's missing walkthroughs for Kraft's wedding. Who's he marrying? The Chinese woman who jerked him off in the fucking massage parlor? Like, come on, these people are dicks.
We don't know if she was Chinese.
You're right. Actually, I should take that back. Clip it out because that's not classy at
Not
all.
clipping it out.
That
No, it
person.
was-
I'm just going to say
it
that
was-
because I don't know what was there.
It was a Chinese masseuse. You were right. She was Chinese.
I thought it was.
It was a Chinese massage parlor.
I'm just. Why is he getting married anyway? He's want to give his fortune away again.
I don't know. No idea. He's got enough. He could give it away a few times. But yeah, he got married to she was like, I'll look it up. She was like 25 or something. It was real young.
Oh, come on. Tell me she's not that young.
Hold on. Myra Kraft was born in 1963, so she's not that old.
Oh, she's older than me then.
No, that's his.
No, that's his ex-wife, isn't it? Who did
Myra
he just
Kraft's
marry?
new wife, Dana Blumberg. Damn it, what a name. Let's look at this. This is 100% junk time, everyone. Okay, just enjoy. We're looking up Dana Blumberg, age 47.
So she's older than me.
That's not that bad. Like, what's Robert Kraft's age? 90?
About 104. No,
Robert-
what's the Homer Simpson joke
Robert
with
Kraft is 80. He's fucking 81 years old. He's just old as 47. You know what?
So he'll be around for a little while yet then.
Well played by her. Well played. You're 47. She's obviously a bit of she's an ex-model or something because she's gorgeous for 47. Well, she's gorgeous for any age, if you ask me. But like, she's obviously like, you know what? I've had my fun. I've had a few young bucks. I'm good. I'll settle down. I'll let this guy get after it once every 3 months with a pill, and I'll lay there for 30 seconds and enjoy it. Or I'll get on top for 30 seconds and enjoy it, and I'll be a billionaire. Well played. Well played, Dana Blumberg. I'm proud of you. Good girl. Or, hey, who am I to judge? Maybe she fucking loves him. Maybe she loves him.
His
I'm sure 81-year-old Robert
away, didn't she?
Yeah, she died from cancer. We've gone through this.
Yeah.
It was quite sad. They were together for a very long time too. So, you know what? Let the old fella have some fun and throw her some money when it's all over. What's it matter? At the end of the day, what's it fucking matter? He's a billionaire. It's never going to matter to him. Enjoy the rest.
You know what it mattered? It disturbed Brady's preparation for the game we lost.
Exactly. That was the reason they lost to Pittsburgh. And you know what? I bet it was Mike Tomlin's plan. He said to Robert, "Hey, make sure you invite him." You know what? It was Brian Flores at Pittsburgh. It was a fucking revenge game. Of course Pittsburgh were going to win. How did it never click? It was a revenge game. It was a Brady revenge game. We should have known. We should have had all the money in the world on Pittsburgh because Robert Flores on that sideline just staring at Aaron Rodgers like, I mean, not Aaron Rodgers, at Tom Brady like, I'm going to kill you after this game. Don't get near me. I will stab you to death because he's that angry about it. Anyway, that's it, Richie. That's the show. Everyone out there, I hope you enjoyed our Contenders or Pretenders. If you disagree with us, how do I put this? I don't fucking care. But come and tell me because I'd like to listen to why. Yeah. Also, all the Cooper Rush fans, suck it. He's shit. I told you he was shit. He's not shit. He's not a starter. Bring back Dak. Richie, thank you as always for being here. You'll see us. Make sure you tune in. Fantasy football podcast, college football podcast, which was really funny last week, and it's going to be even better this week with Alabama losing because they're going to I know Will and Kempy are going to just love to bits that Alabama lost. They're going to thoroughly enjoy it. So go Vols, and Richie, I'll see you next week.
See you, mate.